Good morning. It's Sunday in Virginia and most other places on the planet, and it's beautiful out. Just a tad chilly, and maybe I should have put on something more. So, I have a bunch of things we could talk about. One I'm interested in is listening to people talk to death what could happen at the trial. That is, the trial of Chauvin in Minneapolis for the murder he committed of George Floyd. Now, nobody really knows. And there are, I don't know, there are really only two possibilities. First, the one that's most likely, most of the jurors are going to vote for guilty, no question about it. Second possibility, they'll all vote for guilty, also highly likely. Third possibility, a hung juror, one or two jurors who stand together. It usually happens in pairs because they reinforce each other. And then the government has to decide to have a second trial or not, if it's a hung jury. If it's as few as two, then you usually go forward. If 8 or 9 people were for acquittal and the jury is hung, that's a whole different story. Now, I found that when I was trying cases, and I'm sure it wouldn't change when during this pandemic I try the next one, is I lose all sense of what a jury's going to do as soon as it's in their hands and they've been instructed and we've done our openings and summations and all of that. And I have always looked for signs by the notes. Sometimes you get a note and it tells you what the jury is thinking. And that'll probably happen in the days ahead. I'm sure the judge will make the notes public, and so we'll all be guessing what they mean. And then there's a time when the jury comes into the room and you try to read them. And one of the signs is if they look away from you as the proponent of one side or the other. And as a prosecutor, I remember one case in which it took them 15 minutes to deliberate, and I didn't know what the result was. And as they came in the courtroom, none of them would look at me, and I thought, well, for certain, we've lost. And it wasn't the case. It was for a conviction. And I broke a rule I normally have, and I spoke to the jurors outside. They weren't prohibited from doing so. And the reason you don't do it is you don't want to find something that means you have to overthrow the conviction. But I just couldn't understand why they looked at me that way, or didn't. And what the jurors told me was they thought I was right, but they hated doing what was right according to the law instructed by the judge. And so they didn't look at me because unconsciously or consciously they were upset that I was making them do this. So that was pretty interesting. But it all goes to the point of we have no idea what the jury's going to do. And in this case, I'd be very surprised if the risk was anything greater than 1 or 2 jurors. And we'll find out. We just have to wait. You can't, fast verdict, people like to read it 2 ways. In this case, I think a fast verdict would mean conviction across the board. If they go on for several days, that's disconcerting. Now, while we're talking about courts, I'd like to talk about court packing. And this may be my podcast today, because I'm very upset when I hear a member of Congress asking one of the esteemed members of the court, whom I think so highly of, Justice Breyer, that he should leave the court when he's 82. I know men and women in their 80s, even into their 90s, who have crystal clear thinking, who are doing wonderful things. And he's not working as a stevedore. He's writing opinions and using his mind, and he's still very physically fit. The real answer is to remedy the court by adding 4 members to the court and doing it now, not asking a commission. In my opinion, you know what commissions are? They're a way to kick the can down the road because you don't want to do anything at all. And you're hoping to expel political energy by making people think something is happening because there's a commission out there. And do you think a commission with Republicans is going to be very fruitful? No. It's a way to avoid the issue. It's a political way to protect yourself in the cycle of re-election so you don't have to take a position. You can say, oh, let's see what the commission says. And the Congress is great at saying, let George do it. Let somebody else tell us what to do. And here's the other argument. There's a question about what do we do about the filibuster? And why is this an issue about getting rid of it? Consider the 3 judges that we're concerned about. We're concerned about 3 judges, all of whom were got on the bench in violation of the filibuster rule. Gorsuch got 50 plus votes. It's not 60. Then we had Kavanaugh, again, a squeaker. And then we had Barrett, a squeaker. None of these people were subjected to a supermajority. Each of them was subjected to a majority vote. So why shouldn't we have a correction of this political offense against the Constitution by remedying it with 4 justices? That's it. That's my soapbox. Now, there's also a question about another commission, the January 6th commission, and the Republicans are not interested in it. We shouldn't be interested in it. What the hell is the commission going to do? I think as a young man of the Kennedy Commission, full of lies and magic bullets and bullshit that nobody should believe or could believe. It created more doubt in America than anything else. And it was overseen by the Chief Justice. You know, come on. We have to do better than that. Finally, in the category of there goes Cruz again, we have him. He wrote a book about how we were 1 vote away from, a Supreme Court. And he wrote this last fall. Okay, he's entitled to write books that contain stupid things, pretending he's a Supreme Court scholar because he served there, but abandoned all legitimate thought and policy ever since he became a politician. But put all of that aside. What he's doing is to get his book on the bestseller list. He took campaign funds, about $153,000, and bought the damn book with campaign money. That's an offense, by the way. You know that, but I thought I would confirm it. And that's not the end of it. He spent about $17,000 on ads on Facebook to encourage people to buy it. So when you read something's on the bestseller list, don't be impressed, particularly if it's a politician, because they're crooked as hell. And leading the team is our good boy, Cruz, cruising along. So I don't know. I think those are a couple ideas I have. And so I sing to you from my cathedral of trees, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.